Hi, welcome to another episode of Swim for Land. I'm delighted we're back. I had initially planned to do 6 of these, and it just took on a life of its own, so I've decided to carry on with the help of my sponsors, RHA Audio, amongst lots of other people who have been helping me. Another reason for continuing this at the moment is because things are getting a little bit hairy out there, and I'm struggling. And I know that everyone is struggling. So we need to keep this dialogue going. We need to ramp this dialogue up. And that's what I intend to do over the next few weeks and beyond if we need to. I'm delighted that this week the guest is a very, very, very good pal of mine. He's like a wee brother. We do Panto together, and it was lovely to have a catch up with him. You may know him as an actor, comedian. He's a great stand-up comedian. And he is also Bobby in Scot Squad. But is completely different to Bobby, as you'll find out as I talk to Darren Connell. Darren Connell, how are you?
Hello, Tom. Thank you very much for having me on, mate. I'm good. It's nice to talk to you.
I'm delighted you're here for 2 reasons. First of all, I think you've got a lot to say about this kind of stuff, but also I've not seen you for ages.
I know.
The last time I saw you, it was a mate of ours had arranged a kind of get-together in Glasgow Green, right? And it was in the summer when things had calmed down a wee bit, and there was about 12 of us met up, and we were all being, me and you were the ones that were like, get back for me to everybody. Mm-hmm. And there was a wee gran going about hugging everybody going, oh, it doesn't matter. And we were like, get to...
Aye. She's like, come here, just kiss a cuddle.
It's just a cuddle. You're like that, isn't he?
False teeth hanging at her head.
How have you been?
I've been okay, mate. I think, I don't know, I just feel quite nervous all the time now, and just like... We haven't spoken so long. I actually felt quite nervous about this, even though you're one of my best mates. You're like a brother to me, and it's just because I'm so used to being in a wee bubble now.
I know.
It's just weird.
It's going to be strange coming back out into the real world when you're going to have to behave like a normal person again.
Yeah.
Because I've become institutionalized in here now.
Mm-hmm.
It's
looking good though.
The beautiful River Clyde backdrop. You're looking good. You're looking brilliant. Most people have sat and put on about 10 stone during this lockdown. You're looking fit and healthy.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. I actually lost a lot. I lost a lot of weight, but I've put weight back on because the first lockdown I lost about 4 stone, right. And then the second lockdown came, and I'm just like, fuck this, man. Like, you know how everybody started baking and cooking and here, let's build a shed and paint a fence. Now I'm just like, I want to eat a full loaf of bread. I don't give a fuck about the shed. Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Aye, fuck it. Wooden pallets everywhere. Folk building things, houses out of wooden pallets, and now everybody's just sitting going, I need this to stop. I need this. Get the fucking needle in my arm and let's get on with it. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get the Millport variant soon or something, you know. So it's just going to. Who knows? How do you? Because how do you deal with this? How do you cope with being stuck in the house? Because I'm a fucking weirdo anyway. Right, So I'm all right. I've got my weirdo stuff. I've got my Nintendo and my Frazzles and my coffee machine and stuff. You do a lot of walking? You get out there, don't you?
Yes, at the start, I've got a weighted vest. I'm not too sure how heavy it is, but I did see myself at the start of this thinking, right, there's 2 paths I can take here. Darkness or positivity. In my entire life, I have took darkness. And see, when this happened, I just thought, it's not happening. The depression's not happening with me. So I just embraced it. I probably got quite manic with it. and I was doing like 20-mile walks every single day with a weighted vest on. Totally lost my fucking marbles. People were beating their horn at me and stuff. Police vans were driving past me slow. I'm walking through Poso, like walking through Poso with a weighted vest on. It looked like a stab-proof vest. But I tried to just take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
Just remain positive, eat healthy, try to feel healthy, and that's it.
But I've seen you, I don't think that just started with the lockdown, Darren, because I've seen you look for positive paths for the past 5 years. You know, since we've really been mates, I see you always try to look for the right thing to do. And you're big on vitamins and you're big on healthy eating. You've been vegan for 2 years now?
2 years, just
2
there.
years.
Yeah.
And you were a big inspiration of me going vegetarian as well. I'm not vegan yet because I like cheese, but I don't have any skin problems or stomach problems anymore since I went vegetarian. And it makes such a huge difference to so many aspects of your life.
Brilliant, mate. And you've been a big inspiration to me as well when we first met 5 years ago. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah. So listen, Dan, a lot of people might not know that we've done pantomime together.
Mm-hmm.
We've done 3 pantos together in Dundee.
Yes.
And everyone has been an absolute adventure. There was the first year, which was we just kind of freaked out because we were discovered, because I'd gone through a 10-year panto hatred thing. And that was my first emergence back into panto. And I had kind of really wanted you to do it because I thought you'd be great at it. And you came up and took to it like a duck to water and loved it. I mean, I still kind of hate it, but you really do genuinely love it.
Yeah.
And I wish people could see what you do, because it's like, I've described it as doing panto with Andy Kaufman, being on a stage with you in front of a panto audience, because you just take it off. You just take it off on a tangent that is different every show. So I look forward to the bits where we're on stage together, because I go, I wonder what he's going to do. Wonder what he's going to do today. But you're good at reining it back in. But sometimes we get carried away. What was that show where, was it last year we went 21 minutes over time?
Yeah, I remember that well. I think it was the day before Christmas Eve. Everybody was shattered and just wanted home.
But it was like the dark forest bit, and you just thought of something and went with it, and the audience went with it. And when that happens, it's just like you're riding a wave of comedy madness that work, and the kids adore it, but so do the dads that have maybe been bored for 10 minutes. Suddenly they're sitting up, and I remember one show where you were actually sitting on a dad's knee crying, going, please get me out this panto. Can I come and live in your shed?
Kissing all the bald dads in the head so they've got lipstick on their head.
That's when we were the Ugly Sisters.
Aye, amazing.
Do you remember, talking about mental health and stuff, Darren, do you remember the panic attack I had just before we went on stage a couple of years ago? We won't go into the reasons why, but
yeah.
And I was in my dressing room in full drag, and you were in full drag as well. Mm-hmm. And you kind of,
I don't know why I'm laughing.
This is the funniest thing in the world. You know my head, and you know what triggers me and what panics me and everything. So you came through to the dressing room to calm me down, right? But they had to hold the show up for 20 minutes because I was rattling. And you came through, and it was 2 bouffing drag queens standing, calming each other down. Because we weren't like glamorous Stanley Baxter dames. We were like frumpy Tam Shepard's, Daphne Brune type dames, weren't we? We were both like Les Dawson. And we were just both standing there. And it took about 5 minutes before we started pissing ourselves laughing at, what it must look like. Yeah. 2 panto dames calming each other down and then getting on the stage and doing the show. But
on a Wednesday at 10 in the morning. In a college in Dundee.
And the thing was, because it's in a theatre that's in a college campus, students wandering by backstage, and you're running round to get changed, and there's crackers in it. But what a laugh we had.
It's like beautiful madness. I loved every minute of it. And if you never helped me get in, I don't think I would have ever got a chance to have done that.
But I wouldn't have helped you get in if I didn't know that you would be amazing at it. I knew you'd be good at it. I didn't think you'd be like. I mean, it's like you're doing it again this year, aren't you? I've kind of hung my bra up. I decided last year that was plenty for me. I want to just go and do music. But you're doing, what is it you're doing this coming Christmas?
Dunfermline now.
Right.
At the Alhambra.
Right, and Jenny Douglas is doing that as well, isn't she?
Jenny as well. I mean, I feel like Dundee is always going to be a big part of my heart, and that's where I started. But with this pandemic, nobody got in touch.
Knows what's going to be happening.
Nobody knew what was happening. Actually, I tell you a lie. We got an email saying that it wasn't going ahead, and then probably 4 or 5 days later, I got offered Dunfermline. So I found myself in a situation. Am I not going to do Panto at Dundee or try and do it at Dunfermline? I might as well try. But it did hurt. It hurt me as well because Dundee feels like a wee second home.
But I mean, we'll be back.
Aye.
I had said last year, I say every year I'm not doing it again, then I end up doing it again. And by like October, November, just there, I started going, I'm sort of missing.
Miss it.
I'm sort of missing the excitement of, decamping up there. Because the first year, remember we stayed in student halls of residence.
I'll tell your followers about this.
Right.
We got offered it about a year in advance. And I was like, oh, we better get digs. Tom's like, don't worry, I'll get digs. Are you sure? Don't worry, I'll sort the digs. I gig in Dundee all the time. I sort the digs, don't worry.
Can I just say that I don't speak like that, Dan?
6 months.
I'll sort the digs.
6 months before it, I've got the digs sorted, beautiful digs, don't worry. Are you sure? Do you need money? Don't worry about it. 2 weeks before it. Have you got the digs? Silence. 5 days before it.
I had booked a beautiful seafront cottage for me, you, and Officer Karen, right? And 2 weeks before it, I emailed the woman to just go, where do we get the keys and stuff? And she went, I've let it out to somebody else. You were meant to pay me some shite, and it was a load of shite. I mean, it genuinely was. She'd obviously got a better offer. So everywhere was booked out, and we ended up having to go and stay in the student halls of residence, which was like cells with the waterproof mattress, and
you have to wear socks in the shower.
Aye, that kind of thing. And we had a laugh though, ish. And then the second year we had a really nice flat. And then the third year I went and stayed in a big empty haunted house. And we just have an adventure, but because both of us don't drink, we're not kind of involved in the after show malarkey that goes on. So we both just like a coffee and a movie and stuff like that. So that was one of the good things, because I had a pal that wasn't at the pub either.
Yeah.
So it was like I missed hanging out with you this year. I really did.
I did. I think that myself as well. It's like, what do I love about this? Is it the Panto or the fact that I'm away from Glasgow and just having a laugh with my mate for 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to kind of figure out what it is, but it's going to be weird to not doing it with you, man. It's going to make me sad, actually.
But the funny thing about it was that when we were playing the Ugly Sisters, we became sort of Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, didn't we? We actually became kind of... We'd be standing in the wings going... and it was just so funny. Every day. Remember, I got a hernia, and I was like, that, Darren, you're going to have to stop being... Can you be less funny today? Because it's sore.
I forgot about that. You getting a hernia?
I know. And then rehearsals. Then doing the show where they had to re-block it. It went away. It went. I just kind of strained it, but it's kind of, I don't know. It just
How
went
are you
away.
now? Are you all right with that?
I don't even know if it's still there. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because I had done something weird. We were doing some sort of weird runny chasey thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I'm nearly 52, right? And I shouldn't be doing things like that. And I
Yeah.
think I just did myself a mischief. And then suddenly I was on the train back to Glasgow and worrying about the show. And then it was fine, but we had to rejig it. So that, but you made it worse by making me laugh. But look, I want to talk about your kind of stuff, Darren, because you enjoy an adventure, right? And you're always looking for ways to improve your life and to improve your health and to improve your mental health. And I mean, when we were sharing the digs in Dundee, there were loads of big tubs of vitamins suddenly appeared everywhere, and you're really, really strict about your vitamin intake and your kind of like health stuff. But you made the decision to go to Peru and do ayahuasca.
Yeah.
What is it? I still don't really understand.
Do you know, I think I made the decision, that was the first year of Panto.
Yeah.
I made that decision. So I was in the digs in the student halls, and I was in my room, and someone that I knew got in touch with me, and he's like, I know that you're interested in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself in the digs in a cold December thinking, it's now or never. Like, I've been given a chance to take it. If I don't do it, I'll never do it. And I love the term against the grain. That was one of my Glasgow comedy shows, Against the Grain.
Aye.
And I think that's just a perfect example of doing something that's against the grain. So I booked up and went over. But ayahuasca, for people that don't know, which I would imagine a lot of people don't know what it is, it's like they say it's a herbal type of medicine that's made up of tree bark. There's two different types of tree bark.
A lot of purdies.
Yeah, the purdies taste just as bad.
See if you go to Peru.
So it's two different types of tree bark, and there's something called DMT in it. And they mix it all up in a big pot, and they brew it and bless it, and they do this big procedure with it that I'm not 100% sure what it is.
Right.
But supposedly when you drink it and you go through this process with a shaman, you purge. You have a spiritual purge, a mental purge, and a physical
purge. Is that
purge.
vomiting?
Yep. So, yeah, it's really, really intense and really scary. And sometimes I think I regret it, but I feel like it has changed my life as well. But the process of it was terrifying.
So what, you drink it, and then what happens? Is it like a trip?
So I went over to Peru, and I was there for maybe 16 days, and I drank it 6 times. So it was a day on, a day off, a day on, and a day off, like that kind of process.
So did you used to wake up on the day when you had to drink it going, oh no, I've got to drink that again?
Yep, because it was rancid. It tasted like oil with dirt in it. It was just the most disgusting taste you've ever had in a wee tiny shot glass. And you take it in a teepee, a circle of people take it, and the shaman goes round in a circle, and you all drink it together, and it's just so disgusting.
Did it taste worse than that burger we had in that burger place that we fell out with?
No, the burger's worse.
We fell out with a burger joint online because we complained about the food. The food was disgusting, and we got into such a stramash that we can never go back.
Can we name them?
No.
Don't name them? No, okay. Do you know I'm still angry about that? That was about 4 years ago.
Every time I walk past it, I get angry because nobody believed us.
And they shut down in Sucky Hall Street, and every time I walk past the empty building, I do that. Karma. It's karma, man.
So, look, right, so you did it 6 times, you drank it 6 times. What happens at the time, and what did you feel when you came back home?
So I think you go over there with a concept of, am I going to have an outer body experience? They say if you've got a lot of heartache and depression and stress or hatred towards people, it might help with that. Or if you've lost loved ones and stuff. So I went over there with an idea of some thoughts in my head, maybe depression that I experienced my whole life. But what you expect and what actually happens is something it's completely different. But when I drank it, probably within the space of 30 minutes, I was purging into a bucket. They give you this wee purge bucket. And I could feel when I was purging into this bucket, I could feel like it was depression, anxiety, stress coming out me and into the bucket. I could actually physically feel that, like a weight off my back. I never really tripped when I was taking it. It was more when I got back to my hut and I was sleeping and having crazy dreams at night and stuff. But that was like I went 5 days with no food in the heat of being in a jungle in Peru. I was 20 stone at the time, maybe a wee bit bigger. And it just broke me. It physically and mentally broke me. And I came back to Glasgow and I just had this gratitude that I've never experienced before. And everything just seemed brighter and more colourful. And I felt shell-shocked as well. So it took me a wee while to kind of sink in. But I remember being there and there was like 10 vegans. And I was like, what a lot of shite. I'll never be a vegan in my life. And then 5, 6, 7 months later, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a vegan. Like, you don't even realise the change. It kind of just slowly happens after you take it. It's not really instant, but it happened.
Mm-hmm. Do you get a hard time about being a vegan?
Oh, all the time. I feel like saying, mate, I don't give a fuck what you eat. Like, all of a sudden, I've got guys in my school that used to punt me gear talking about B12 vitamins. I'm like, here, wait a minute.
Is that the same folk that aren't going to take the vaccine?
Aye. Like, I hear, Dan, do you get enough B12 in your fucking diet? I feel like saying, do you? Do you? Fucking drink a glass of water, mate. You look like you're going to die.
So look, see when you meet people, do people expect you to be like Bobby because you play Bobby in Scot Squad? Do people expect you to be like him? Because I know you really well now and you're probably the most unlike a character that an actor plays that I know. It's just completely, you've got your Bobby moments, but you're kind of thoughtful and intelligent and kind of classy, and you like good movies and good coffee, and it's not Bobby. It's completely opposite. And do people get freaked out when they meet you and you're not running in shouting Officer Karen at them?
I think so, yeah, because in fact, also that was very kind of you. Thanks for saying that. But I think they get mixed up because I mixed a lot of my own life with Bobby. Like when we were creating the character, I came up with a name. I made him a trolley boy. So I was a trolley boy. And for 10 years before I became a comedian, I was a trolley boy. The glasses that Bobby wore were my old glasses that I kept in a box for years. I just kept them, an old pair of glasses. So I made him a trolley boy. It was my glasses. I fit in a lot of my kind of own life scenarios with him. Like, I love the cinema and stuff. So people that I used to go to Asda with that never knew, worked in Asda with, that never knew I was a comedian, kind of watched this and they were just like, what is this? Because it was a mockumentary. I don't think they knew. I don't know what they thought they knew, but it's an actor. I mean, I've seen a lot of things. Like, I can't really remember because I've been doing it so long, but I remember my nephew saying something when I was younger. He said something to my mum and it was like so childlike and innocent and sweet that I kind of mimic that with Bobby. Like, so when he comes into the station, I think I try to look at it from like he's just looking for a pal. There's nothing sinister.
I remember last week somebody said something on Twitter about a romance between Bobby and Officer Karen, and Joe came in and went, no, it's not that. And I get that because he is like a toddler running to show his mum things. So she's his mother. Officer Karen's his mother that he's never had. And he's taking things in to show her. Look at what I found, Mum.
Yeah.
And it's so innocent and so
yeah,
it is like a toddler.
yeah. And that's why I tried to mimic my nephews when I can't really remember what it was, but I thought, God, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
And I just go from like a kind of child point of view, but there's nothing sinister there. He doesn't like, if he does love her, it would be like a friend or like a mum or a family member. It would never be, that's never entered my mind.
Yeah. It would be weird. I think everybody would go, no, if anything happened with them. It would be like, that's incest.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Plus, I wouldn't want that either. I don't think Karen would want that either. It just goes against the. Did a car just explode out in your street there?
Somebody's obviously, you know what I'm like? I'll be leaning out the window shouting, shut the fuck up in 2 minutes. Anger issues.
Like that out the window?
Darling, I'm doing a podcast. So look, you're the same as me. Last March when we went into lockdown, everything stopped. Work stopped. Performance stopped. Have you missed it? And when do you think we'll get back?
It's weird because I don't miss the politics of gigging. Okay. Like the green room politics of being a stand-up comedian is poisonous. But being on a stage and making people laugh is just the best feeling ever. And I've had moments during the lockdown when I've been making people laugh and I'm like, oh, I miss that. And I miss the Panto laugh and the Scott Squad laugh. Sometimes I don't know if I miss stand-up, but if it started back, I would gig straight away. So
because your Twitter's hilarious, but you don't hear an audience laughing at that.
Yeah.
You know, I think every day your Twitter makes me laugh.
Oh, thank you.
It's not genuinely.
I try to use my Twitter as a kind of.
But also, your Twitter persona is a character as well, isn't it? It's not you, really.
No comment.
It is sort of a character, you know, getting mad with the eckies and all that and stuff. It's like, yeah.
Because 1 minute I could be talking about gut health and vitamin D, and then I'm saying I'm sticking eckies up my arse. People are like, is that Bobby?
Do you think there's maybe a few folk live in your head?
Yeah. What was that?
Me and you have got a kind of shared, not hatred, or a kind of uncomfortable feeling with, and you've been talking about this quite a lot online recently, with these kind of self-qualified gurus that pop up, and at my worst points of depression and anxiety and mental health, if you'd suggested to me to climb up a hill with my top off and jump into a waterfall, I would finish myself off. I don't make any connection between that. I just don't think I would cope with that. Maybe it works for some people, but for me, I can't be doing it. I'd rather go and speak to the doctor.
Yeah. It's weird because I don't think we've ever spoke about this, have we? But I just know that we share the same opinion.
It's just when somebody's. It's just. I mean, I can look at you. We know each other well enough now that I can glance at you, right? And if somebody starts a thing, and I just kind of look at you.
Time to go. Let's go.
It's just like. Oh.
Yeah. See, what I have a problem with is it's called cold water therapy, which I think is the real deal and it works. I don't want to slag that. So I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. What I do have a problem with is people who have done these online courses that have lasted 2 to 3 weeks and all of a sudden they're fucking the Scottish Tony Robbins telling people not to go to the doctor and to stop taking antidepressants, and all of a sudden come and listen to me because I've not took gear in 4 months. They are dangerous I
just
people.
think it's dangerous, yeah.
And see, the most heartbreaking thing about that is that they're charging people money. That is heartbreaking. That is the lowest of the low.
See, I always think the first person to speak to is your GP. I always, with anything that's going on, whether you take their advice or not, or but I think it's important to, especially with things like medication and antidepressants, you can't suddenly stop taking them, because it's a chemical thing, and you've got if you're going to stop taking them, it needs to be at the right time and it needs to be at the right pace. Telling somebody to chuck the antidepressants away is really, really fucking dangerous.
Yeah. And it's the same they're the kind of same people as this anti-vaccine people. What do they know about vaccines? I mean, what do I know about vaccines? I don't know anything. What do I know about antidepressants? That the fact that I've only took them, that's all I know. But if I'm who are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to a doctor, or are you going to listen to somebody that went to Turkey and get their teeth done? Aye, so I mean, I got a cold water tub. I've got a cold water tub. I'm going to fill it up with ice water. I'm going to do all the cold water therapy. But see, as soon as they start preaching about medication and doctors and stuff, nah, get away from me. Get away from me.
You're not going to get me in the cold water therapy stuff. I'll do that.
You can't get you in a fucking bath, never mind cold water.
So Darren, Scott Squad's back on the air for season 6, series 6.
Season 6, mate. Yeah.
Season series 6. What can we look forward to in that? Is there any surprises coming? Because I noticed Officer Sharon last week.
Yes.
What's that?
She was a wee belter. So there's new concepts and ideas and stuff. Officer Karen goes out in the station for a wee while. There's new officers in the station. And because, to be honest, mate, I can't really remember much of it because of the COVID restrictions. So my mind is like a wee bit melted. But
also I got that because when you're at your work and you're doing a thing, as soon as you've done it, it kind of falls back out. Because people talk to me about River City storylines and I go, I don't remember that because it was a day at my work 7 years ago. What happened in the office 7 years ago that day? You're like, I can't remember. But so I've always wanted a Bobby spin-off.
Oh wow!
Do you think that would ever happen?
Do you know? I would love a Bobby spin-off.
I think the scope is incredible for a Bobby spin-off.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a really interesting character.
I don't think we've ever I've never spoke about it, but I think it's there. Like you say, like I love playing Bobby. I love how my sense of humour is so dark and it's twisted, and I can go and do stand-up comedy and it can be really cutting and over 18s, but then I do Bobby and it can be for everybody. And I've never experienced that before. I've never experienced like a gran or a granda or a nephew saying, I love Scott Squad. I'm so used to being in like working man's comedy clubs when I'm getting pints of beer chucked at me and just being this like vicious stand-up comedian. But then this is such a welcomed thing in my life that I love playing. Yeah. I think I would love to do a spin-off. I've never spoke about it, but you look at all the shows. I'm not saying Scott Squad's like these shows, but Cheers had Fraser. I'm sure the Simpsons was a spin-off as well or something.
It was from the Tracy Ullman show, yeah. The two spin-offs I see coming from it are Bobby and the Julie and Louise, the two characters they do, because they're sort of separate from the operations of the police station. They could be doing a detective show, but I think Bobby could be taken out into an ensemble like what they did with Fraser, because he's such an innocent childlike creature. It would be great to see the world that he inhabits when he's not running in to show Officer Karen things.
Yeah, I think that's what a spin-off should be. It should be something that's completely different from the original concept. So
yeah, I remember when Chewing the Fat finished and they were trying to think of characters to spin off, and Jack and Victor it was a real surprise when they said they were going to spin Jack and Victor off, because everybody thought there was loads of other characters that were more obvious for a spin-off, but then it just took off. People really went with it. And Frasier as well. When Cheers finished and Frasier was the spin-off, everybody went, what? Why is it not Norman Cliff? Or, but it was genius.
I've thought that as well. I completely thought that with Frasier. To the point that I thought, that might not be good.
Yeah.
And it turned out that it was amazing.
They do get it wrong sometimes, because Joey was terrible when they spun that off.
Yeah,
so
that was rough.
Darren, before we go, what I kind of wanted to ask you about was, and I've kind of talked about this in every episode of the podcast that we've had. There are going to be a lot of people that have been living through this pandemic that have maybe been encountering anxiety, stress, and depression for the first time. And I worry that the resources aren't going to be there. I mean, because remember when I wasn't well mentally a few years ago, I was on a 6-month waiting list before I got therapy, and it was a CD and a pamphlet was the therapy. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to have to just all watch each other's backs.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry to hear that, but I think I had something similar when I was younger. I remember I went to a therapist when I was 24, and I couldn't sleep. I was feeling suicidal, and I said, look, I need help. I can't sleep at night. I want to fucking kill myself. And she said, why don't you have a nice glass of warm milk? And I was like, excuse me? A fucking glass of warm milk? Are you mental?
I heard about, there was somebody phoned up a charity, one of the kind of charities that people set up, and God love them, and thank God they're there, because if we've not got NHS resources enough to deal with, the charities are going to be the third sector. They're going to be the ones that help deal with us. But a friend of mine phoned up one of the charities really upset, and the girl in the end was obviously maybe new, or there was just covered, and she said, why don't you just try and forget about it and cheer up?
God, man. You shouldn't laugh, but it's just madness, isn't it?
You've got to laugh, Sin. You've got to laugh. But it's like, so if I was, I wasn't quite suicidal when I went to the doctor with the first time I had depression and anxiety. But if I was, when I couldn't I couldn't sit there for 6 months feeling like that, waiting on an appointment if I'm metaphorically hanging off a cliff. And so they had the government briefing today, and the guy was on talking about how all these new helplines are being set up and stuff. But as recently as 4 months ago, I got given a website and a helpline to phone, and I spent about 2 hours trying to get through it all. And I ended up with this website. And when I phoned the helpline, they said, "Oh, this isn't for NHS Scotland. It's only if you live in England." And I went, I give up. It was too hard. It was too hard to try and navigate my way through to the help that I needed. Because they put me back in medication, and I went, well, this time I don't just want the medication. I want to actually figure out what all this is. And they said, "Oh, it's great. We've got this new service," and then it just ended up being a big dead end. And I'm all right. I can get through stuff, but for somebody that's dealing with it for the first time and they get sent on a wild goose chase, it's shite.
Yeah, and I think we need to get realistic here and embrace ourselves for impact, because it's going to be a long and tough road, and if we just need to get realistic and accept that. How can you take each day at a time, but how can you improve your own life? So are you taking drugs? Are you drinking alcohol? All these things cause stress and anxiety, lack of sleep. Is your diet awful? Do you exercise enough? See if you're not doing all these things, see over a long period of time, on top of the pandemic stress of like going into Morrison's and being scared if you're going to touch anybody, you're going to snap. So straight away I would go, right, I'm not going to drink. Just for today, I'm not going to drink. Do you know what? See if I smoke. I'm not going to smoke. Then you replace it with a healthy diet. Or it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like, everybody just sets themselves up for all or nothing, and then it's a complete failure. So see if somebody's having like a steak and chips for their dinner. No, wait a minute. It's like I don't know what to use for an example. It's like it's all salad or not or nothing. See, if you're going to have a burger, have a fucking salad with it. If you really want a burger, just have a burger. But don't think, oh, I've fucked it. I've fucked my whole life, and then it sets you down this spiral of like binging and drinking. Or if you've had one beer, you think, oh, that's me back on the bevy. Just try your hardest to just cut it at the one beer and be kind to yourself. Even at the start of this second lockdown, I say I'm a vegan, I'm plant-based. See, sometimes I've been eating chocolate. I've had a wee bit of cheese. Mm-hmm. See, the old me would be like, oh, fucked it, I'm not a vegan anymore. Doner kebab pizza at the bus stop with my tap off. Who cares? I had a wee bit of cheese. Uh-huh. And I know people online would be like, fuck, you were a vegan, you're eating cheese. Who gives a fuck? I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to be a good person. See, if I want a biscuit with my cup of tea, I'm having a biscuit with my cup of tea.
Mate, thank you for joining me today. I love you to bits.
Did I invoice you for the 400 quid for this? Or?
So, Darren Connell, thanks very much for joining me. I can't wait to see you again in the real world, because we do a lot of meeting up and drinking coffee and putting the world to right. Do you remember that time? We were sitting having breakfast in Broughty Ferry? And it was near the end of the run of the panto, and we saw Gordon Kennedy from Absolutely sitting at another table. Remember that?
Aye.
And we were like, there's Gordon Kennedy from Absolutely. And we were both kind of starstruck. And we were going, is it him? Aye, it's definitely him. So we were kind of, let's go and introduce ourselves. And we were like, no, we can't do it. And I went, no, look, he's a total comedy hero. He's a total legend. We need to go over and say hi and say we work for the comedy unit and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so, but we were unsure if it was or not. So I sneaked a photo of him and sent it to Gus Beattie at the comedy unit and went, is this Gordon Kennedy? And he went, oh, yeah, there's Gordon. Yeah, that's fine. Go and say hi to him. He'll love to meet you. And I went, oh, Gus says it's great. We can go up and say hi to Gordon Kennedy. So we both went over and went, Gordon, how are you? And he went, what? Gordon, I'm Tom, this is Darren. We do comedy. And he went, my name's Robert. What are you talking about? It wasn't him. And we both just went, hey, sorry, bye.
I know, it was so awkward. It was so awkward, man.
So awkward. So awkward. Darren, thank you for joining me today. You're a blessing.
Thank you, Tom. I love you and I miss you, mate.
I love you too, and I miss you too, buddy. See you soon. Thanks, Darren. It's always an absolute joy to catch up with Darren. As you can see, he's a funny guy and a clever and quite a sensitive guy as well. Really intelligent, the opposite of Bobby. Anyway, if you get a chance to go and see Darren doing stand-up comedy when we're allowed back into the real world, please do, because it is an experience not to be missed. Now, I would like to thank my sponsors, RHA Audio, who make these incredible earbuds. I use them all the time. They've got a 44-hour battery life and they sound amazing. They sound like over-ears, and they are much cheaper than a lot of their lesser quality rivals. Let's just put it that way. Next week, I'm really excited about this, and I'm also really relieved about it because I've managed to get some answers, or I'm going to be getting some answers, because my main concern about all of this stuff has been how we deal with the challenges that are going to come in regards to people's first discovery or first revisit of mental health. And I desperately wanted somebody who knows what they're talking about, because I'm just a gonk that's feeling my way through this. And I have managed to get Dr. Alistair Cook, who is the Principal Medical Officer for the Scottish Government. He's not aligned to any political party or anything like that. He is just the guy who knows the answers to the questions that I've been desperate to find the answers for. Where do we go? What phone number do we phone? What's available for us? when we get out of here, am I on a 6-month waiting list again to get a CD and a pamphlet? I'm going to be asking him all that kind of stuff. So I'm delighted that he's agreed to join me next week on Swim for Land, which I think is going to be a very important episode, because we're going to find out what we're going to do. But until then, please stay safe and keep the heat.